Everybody. Hello, everyone. Cheers to you, wherever you happen to be watching. My name is Brian Engelman. This is the Unhappy Hour. Grab a beverage, pull up a seat at the bar. I've been a bartender, and I've worked many happy hours, and I've been to many happy hours. And I named this show The Unhappy Hour because it just seemed like Cleveland sports, the area where I was born. Let me clarify. I was born into my regional love for Cleveland sports. You think I would choose this? Look at these colors on the Ricola bag. Look at this orange. I mean, it's fine for what it is, but come on, who really wants orange as the color of your team? And orange isn't even the color. It's brown. They're called the Browns. Or the Frowns or the Clowns. We have been called just about everything, honestly. And unfortunately, we've deserved it. And we're sitting here at 1-5, the worst record in the NFL. Talking about number one overall pick. We're talking about the number one overall pick. We just did this. We did a full crash and burn. Remember Sashi Brown? And the way that Andrew Berry has kicked the can down the road. For future generations, future general managers to handle / dig out from. The Browns are in a bit of a jam, folks. And there's a lot of time that we can discuss those particular topics. Let me just say this. I am so frustrated with Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, and Jimmy Haslam. For wasting 3 years in the prime of the career of Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Nicholas Jamal Chubb. We had Jacoby Brissett for half a season and Deshaun Watson, who didn't understand the playbook. We had a couple of games last season with him. Injury. And look, Joe Flacco led us to the playoffs. We could have had all these extra draft picks in Baker Mayfield. A healthy Baker Mayfield behind center for the prime of these careers. The entire crew of the rebuild. Denzel Ward, Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett. I would like to see Baker Mayfield throwing to Amari Cooper because maybe it looks like Joe Flacco throwing to Amari Cooper. No, instead, we get this Watson thing. Now, look, I'm actually going to take a step or two back from completely pushing Deshaun off the cliff. It seems like the narrative has changed. But, I read a comment and it summed it up fairly well for me. We're 2 Amari Cooper catches away from being 3-3. So it is interesting that Kevin Stefanski is naming Deshaun Watson the starter. And look who we got rid of first. The very first addition by subtraction was not Deshaun Watson. Don't make me defend Deshaun Watson. But I am. I'm just trying to be objectively fair based on what I'm watching. That's all I ever do. Whether it's sports, politics, doesn't matter. I look at something and I try to analyze it. To the best of my ability, and I love reading your comments. So please hit like and subscribe and for everything The Unhappy Hour. But look, Amari Cooper, he came in very unhappy this year. He wanted a long-term extension. He wanted a large contract. And he has every right to want that. Of course he has every right to want that. The Browns, meanwhile, we're trying to trade him. Trying to swap him with the 49ers, trying to get one of their wide receivers. Amari wasn't happy. And he came in this season looking very unlike the person who put up 1,200-yard seasons back to back. In the storied franchise of the Cleveland Browns, can you believe that we've only had back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons from one wide receiver, and it was Amari Cooper completing that task last year? Can you believe that? The Browns helped invent the game of football. Modern football, as you know it, has the Browns stamp all over it. And it took Amari Cooper to reach such a mundane statistic. How many I would love to see them do the math. Where's our Darren Campo or some of you math guys, statistical guys? Darren famously on ESPN for World Series of Poker. Darren, who were you on with? Was it Phil Hellmuth? Who were you playing on that table? I forget. Daniel Negreanu? I do forget who you were playing. But I'd love to see how many other teams have had back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons from the same guy. And I'd love to know how many times that's happened. Jerry Rice had, 14 in a row for the 49ers? So we need to grade what we've witnessed. This is a general manager failure. This is an F from Andrew Berry. Now, you might say, this isn't an F. We got 2 great seasons out of Amari Cooper. Some say the 2 best seasons of his career. And then we traded him for more than we got back. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. We traded him away and received more than it cost us to get him from Dallas 3 years ago. It cost you a 5th. And look, you got a 3rd back. What did we get? Let me pull up the terms. It's a 6th and a 7th. All right. The Bills acquired longtime star wideout Amari Cooper, by the way, who's been dealt by the Raiders and the Cowboys. So there's a cyclical pattern with this player, by the way. Just something to keep in mind. The Bills traded a 2025 third-round pick. That'll be next year, I believe. I know next year is 2025. It's just because the NFL season starts in 24 and then finishes in 25. So then next year it's 25 to 26. Anyway, Bills traded a 2025 third-round pick and a 2026 7th-round pick. So we also get a 7th the next year. And they received back a 6 from us this upcoming season and Amari Cooper. So I don't know how you do that math. Do you just kind of say 7th and 6th round picks come close to canceling out and you take the 3rd and slide it down to a 4th and call it a day? Did you follow that math there? I don't know if that made sense, but to me it did. If you're getting a 3rd back, but it's costing you a 6, do you slide down, you get a 7 back, but it's a next year pick, the 2026 7th round pick. So as far as I know, when we're doing fantasy football trades, you trade calculators. If you have to trade an entire year without having that asset, just keeping it sitting on the shelf, it costs you money it becomes way less valuable because you have an entire one less season to use it. So it's not that valuable. Anyway. That's the first change that has occurred with the Cleveland Browns. Now, there are a lot of other problems. I saw Leroy Horde was now calling. He's done with Watson. Quincy Carrier's done with Deshaun Watson. I mean, look, I've been done with Deshaun Watson for a really long time. But okay. To anyone that says you can't bench Deshaun Watson, if so, you just got to trade the guy. You'll have to cut him and eat his salary. No, you don't. No, you don't. These are grown men, and they're allowed to be benched. They're allowed to be benched, period. Hey, we're gonna see what Jameis can do. We're gonna see what DTR can do. This offense is not clicking. But what if Nick Chubb? What if Nick Chubb is the thing that clicks? What if it is? Well, we're gonna get to find out. They appear to be backing Deshaun Watson right now. At least publicly. Maybe not happy about doing it. But they're locked in. Back to Darren at the World Series of Poker. When you push all your chips into the middle, like the Browns have done, they mortgaged the farm, burned the entire fan base that said, no, what are you getting rid of Baker Mayfield for? He's shown us glimpses of being awesome. Yeah, he's had some ups and downs, and I don't know, he's a little bit too much of a comedian, and that rubs me the wrong way. It's like you're getting national attention on commercials for the first time ever in Cleveland Browns sports. Oh, but that's not good enough. Nothing's good enough for grumpy Browns fans. And trust me, I can be grumpy, but I'm grumpy with reason. I'm talking about people that are grumpy for no reason. But they mortgaged the farm. We lost 3 first-round picks. We burned our reputation on this potentially creepy Deshaun Watson that it does not seem like the team is rallying behind. The community is not rallying behind. Meanwhile, Baker's crushing it. He's leading the NFL in touchdown passes after 6 weeks. By the way, after winning a playoff game last year and going toe-to-toe with the Lions on the way to where the Lions went to the NFC Championship game last year, when Baker won the Pro Bowl and the Pro Bowl Skills Challenge. You know, I mean, we're not even getting competent quarterback play. But like I was trying to do that trade calculation, the 3rd round pick, the 6th round pick, the 7th, do I just kind of, how do I slide the math and go, maybe we received back a 4th and it only cost us a 5th 2 years ago to get him from Dallas. Like we got him for nothing really, just take him and take his contract. You can say Andrew Berry did a good job. He got back more than he put in, but you should have handled this issue. This real negative energy has been palpable, and you don't see Amari Cooper dropping balls that hit him in both hands. You messed up his head. Deshaun Watson's got his own issues going on. Lost his dad, tons of lawsuits. I guess he settled another one. You got to get his head right. I don't know. It doesn't look like his arm is shot. They don't go vertical as much as I want them to, but maybe that's because they're not getting open because Amari Cooper's lost a step. He's still a crafty veteran, and he knows where to be, and he can make some great plays. But look, the Browns have said, let's see Jamari Thrash. Let's see some more of the other guys on this team. Let me pull up the Browns roster real quick. They've been so inconsequential. I couldn't even remember the name of Cedric Tillman off the top of my head. And I drafted him in my dynasty league. He's just rotting, wasting a bench spot for me. They're like, all right, well, let's see what Cedric Tillman can do. 6'3", 215 out of Tennessee. 2-year pro. Let's go. Jamari Thrash out of Louisville. I mean, the guy's got moves. Get him the ball. Elijah Moore, same type of player. Thrash is 6'0", Moore's 5'10", 23, 24 years old. Except Elijah Moore has 4 years of experience out of Ole Miss. Jerry Jeudy, look, you're getting rid of one Alabama wide receiver. You got another Alabama wide receiver. Is Jerry Jeudy going to be the number 1? Is that what we're doing here? Unfortunately, David Bell is out for the season. I think he's out for the season. That is too bad because he would have had some opportunities there. Also on our practice squad, Jalen Darden out of North Texas, 3-year pro. James Prochet out of SMU. Kadarius Toney out of Florida. Now there's a guy that needs a reset. Michael Woods out of Oklahoma, sitting on the practice squad as well. So look, the Browns are going to figure out what they have. They have to. Are they drafting a quarterback? Oh my God, are they going to take Deion Sanders' kid at quarterback with the number 1 overall pick? Is that really the trajectory that we're on? Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, Deion Sanders' kid. Is that really what we're doing as a franchise? Please tell me this is not the direction we're going. By the way, with $230 million wasted dollars on the other quarterback that you thought was so great, you just wanted to replace Baker Mayfield with. Oh, I hated that trade from the beginning. He was damaged goods. He sat out for a season. You should have got him at a bargain basement discount, not 3 first-round picks, a 4th and a 5th, or whatever we gave up. Oh, goodness. Anyway, Browns are going that direction. Let me give you something positive here. I'm actually positive on the Browns. I'm an eternal optimist. What can I say? Anybody that can start off this bad can also turn it around. The comment that I referenced was we were two Amari Cooper receptions away from being a 3-3 team. I mean, we sort of gave the Eagles all they could handle. We had that Giants game. I mean, we were right there. We're right there. Let's see if Holly can hear me. Because the Browns are playing the Bengals this week in Cleveland. And over the past couple of years, the Browns have been in charge of the Cincinnati Bengals. We've been the zookeeper. There's no doubt about it. And we're getting Nick Chubb back. This is a big freaking deal. Let me pull this up here. I haven't had a chance to see it. I've been warned that it's moving. Yeah, moving me to a bigger house. That's from The Simpsons. All right, let me share the screen with you, and I want to read this for the first time. This came out yesterday. Meant to react to it yesterday. Working. Shh. All right. I guess this is me working. I don't know. All right. The Players Tribune. Cleveland got my back. There's Nicholas Jamal Chubb, who I wish was still playing with Baker Mayfield with that core of players. October 16, 2024. This is yesterday. Here goes the Players Tribune article. Damn, I really did that shit again. That was my first thought after I went down against Pittsburgh last season. When you get hurt like I got hurt, the weird thing is that you don't even really feel anything, but you hear everything. You hear that weird silence in the crowd. You can sense your teammates kind of gathering around you. You're hearing a lot of, "It's going to be all right, bro." That's never a good sign. Once guys start getting down on one knee, you know it's pretty bad. If it's my teammates praying over me, maybe it's just a bone bruise. Maybe I'll be back by the playoffs. Now I got Steelers praying over me. That's when you know how it's serious. The dark thoughts start creeping in. I really did it again, huh? They might not be able to put me together again this time. This might be a wrap. Why me, Lord? Just Why me? This is not my first rodeo, says Nick Chubb in this Players Tribune article. My sophomore year at Georgia, just as I was really starting to make a name for myself, I had one of those freak injuries that can end your career. I was just trying to finish out a run, get an extra yard. Let me go live again. They took that down. How weird. Rebooting Facebook because they don't like me using this group, talking to my group, staying live, going live. Awesome, Meta. Way to stay out of it again this election cycle. Appreciate you. Anyway, back to this Nick Chubb article on the Players Tribune. This is not my first rodeo. My sophomore year at Georgia, just as I was really starting to make a name for myself, I had one of those freak injuries that can end your career. I was just trying to finish out a run, get an extra yard, and then the next thing I know, my leg buckles under me, kind of funny. Then the whole stadium goes silent. I didn't even realize how bad it was until they loaded me into the police SUV to get me to the hospital, and I finally checked my phone. I had like 100 text messages. That's never good when you're in college. You're not that important. I'm seeing prayer hands emojis. I'm seeing Bible verses praying for you, bro. Oh, Lord, what happened? I go on Twitter and my name is trending. The first thing I see is a video of me with one of those warnings like graphic. Viewer discretion is advised. Ugh. Bro, what happened to me? Oh, man. And there he is. I I can relate, by the way. I've had a knee blowout. It was ACL. I've had a shoulder blowout. Oh, man. These injury stories. It's the worst part of sports. I continue. Nick Chubb continues in the Players Tribune. I watched the video of me going down almost like it wasn't really me. And I'm like, dang, dude's left leg is bent backwards. It's definitely not supposed to do that. But I was so young and naive and my leg was still numb. So I'm thinking, I'll be back. Don't you worry about it. Whatever happened, I'm the exception. I'm coming back stronger. When I was lying on the ground against Pittsburgh, I wasn't so naive anymore. I had so many mental nails and plates. I'm sorry, metal. I had so many metal nails and plates in my knee from the first one. I'm thinking, please don't let those nails be splintered all over my leg right now. Man, it's like shrapnel. Jeez. I knew what rehab from something like this actually meant. I knew what 9 weeks in a straight knee brace does to a leg. When I finally got out and saw my leg the first time, it had atrophied down to the size of my arm. Yes, that's true. Yes, that's what happened to me. My first day of physical therapy, it was like opening a Snapple bottle. It went, and the quadricep, it popped back. It had completely atrophied. Oh, I'm just remembering all that rehab for that knee. I knew what rehab from something like this actually meant. I knew what 9 weeks in a straight knee brace does to a leg. When I finally got out and saw my leg the first time, it had atrophied down to the size of my arm. I thought I was never going to walk the same again, let alone run. So I'm lying there and I'm thinking, this could be it. I got back to the locker room and they ran the tests. I'm waiting for the results and I grabbed my phone. Like 300 messages. I'm not that popular. Not good. Go on Twitter. It's like deja vu. I'm trending. Now I know not to even watch the video. First tweet I see, LeBron James. Oh, let me swap these so you guys can read along, so it's easier to read. First tweet that I see says Nick Chubb, LeBron James. Damn, man. Jeez, I gotta how do you explain emojis? Is that a hand over a face emoji? And prayers, Nick Chubb praying for the absolute best. The funny thing is, he didn't even tag me, but the algorithm knows who I am, so it served it right up. Praying for the absolute best. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? I'm alive, right? It's got to be surreal. Jeez, imagine how Trump felt. Imagine how many messages were in Trump's Twitter on his cell phone. And he was like, "Damn, am I still alive?" Nick Chubb continues, "I'm like, oh my God, what happened? I'm alive, right?" For real though, those messages meant the world to me. Just LeBron and everybody showing me love in a really dark time. But I can't lie to you. At that moment, I was thinking that I'd probably played my last NFL down. There was one thing that got me through it, one thing that kept me positive, and it's been the same thing since I was young. My why? My family. At 6 o'clock, the laughing stops. You only need to understand two things about me, and you got a pretty solid picture of who I am. I, I don't talk a lot unless I really know you. And even then, everything I ever did, I did for my mom. Anytime the media ever did a story on me, it was always about my father's side of the family. And I can understand why. It's a great story. My great great grandfather helped to found a town of free blacks called Chubbtown. They built up a thriving community of businesses in Georgia during the Civil War era. It was a little miracle, honestly. That's my name, my history, my family's legacy, but it's only half of me. My mother's side of my family is my heart, my compass, my why. She raised me, and she was on her own for most of my childhood. Not just me, but my older brother and younger sister. I was the forgettable middle child. My brother was the super popular star athlete, light skinned. He'd be like the Disney Channel main character. My little sister was the baby. I never even saw her walking anywhere until she was like 6 years old. They used to carry her around like the Queen of England. Me, I was just Nick, chilling by the PS2, minding my business. My mom worked her ass off just to provide for us. She was working double shifts from when I was super young. I used to sneak down from our bedroom and see her crying over bills late at night, like you see in the movies. That was our real life. Just super poor, super stressed all the time. When I was around 10, my mom took on an extra night shift, and so we moved in with our grandma. And my grandma, how can I say this without her taking it the wrong way? Because I love my grandma. My grandma was super strict. Super. She took no mess. When the sun went down at night, we had to stop laughing. At 6 o'clock, the laughing stops. That was the rule, because once the sun went down, that meant it was time to get serious and start thinking about your work the next day. But we were little kids, and so of course we would start cutting up and trying to make each other laugh, right? When we got out of line, she'd make us do the Bart Simpson. You know, the Bart Simpson picture where he's at the chalkboard in detention. My grandma would make us do that in a notebook. Whatever we did, we'd have to write it 100 times. I will not talk back to my grandma. I will not talk back to my grandma. I will not talk back to my grandma. Your hand would be cramping up like crazy. Grandma, I can't. You should have thought about that before you were sassing me. Keep writing. When I say she taught us the value of hard work, let me paint the picture for you. She had this hill in the back of her house, like a bank, real steep, with all these plants and gravel and stuff. And in the summertime, she used to have me and my brother go out there and do landscaping. The queen didn't have to do anything. She'd have us picking weeds from underneath the rose bushes. No gloves, mind you. You ever get cut up by a rose bush? It's not funny. Gloves? I don't got that kind of money. Toughen up. One day she gave us a new assignment. Pick up all the rocks from the bank, load them all into those buckets. Come on now, those rocks ain't gonna move themselves. All day we were gathering up these rocks, and she's out there overseeing us like a project manager or something. Finally, we got all the rocks picked up. Okay, Grandma, what do we do now? Dump them back on the bank again. What? Yeah, but I want them even, spread out. Grandma, be serious. take this rake, rake all the rocks. I want them smooth. Bro, when I tell you we were tired, Nick Chubb continues here. I don't even know what the purpose was. It was some kind of grandma lesson that I'll never fully understand. But you know what? When we were done, it honestly looked amazing. It was like one of those Japanese Zen gardens, bro. And it was one of the best workouts of my life. You have to understand, my grandma was from a different era. A lot of racism, a lot of hardship. That definitely shaped her as a person, and she was trying to shape us for the world. Every night before we went to bed, she would make us stand in front of the mirror and repeat the same mantra. I'm smart, I'm intelligent, and I believe in myself. But we had to say it like we meant it. You couldn't stop until she believed that you were sincere. Say it loud like you mean it. I'm smart, I'm intelligent, and I believe in myself. Don't be mumbling, Nick. She had to hear that bass in your voice. I'm smart, I'm intelligent, and I believe in myself. It worked. I started believing, for real. By the time I got to high school, I really had one mission, and that was to make sure that my mom didn't have to worry about paying for my college tuition. For me, that path was football. But it could have been anything. I just wanted to take care of her and not have her stress about anything. I remember when I first started getting recruiting letters from colleges in the mail, and it kind of dawned on her like, oh, so they really going to pay for your school? My son? That's amazing. Like I said, I was the forgettable middle child. We started getting so many letters that we put them in this big garbage bag. I had the hefty bag going. I still have it at my house to this day. By my senior year, I was committed to the Georgia Bulldogs. I always wanted a dog as a kid. That was my dream. That mean little bulldog was always the coolest mascot to me. I was just so locked in at that point, I was barely even playing video games. It was like a 24/7 grind. I remember I used to be searching my name and reading all these comments like, yeah, Chubb is a bigger back. They already got Sony Michel, and he's a 5-star. They might move Chubb to fullback. Fullback? Not going to be no fullback. Seeing that stuff, I was a man on fire. I remember I'd saved up my PE classes all 4 years in high school. You could pick when to do your PE, and I waited until my last semester so I could have 2 every day. I'm like, finally, I'm chilling. Can't wait to be just playing some dodgeball or some badminton or something. But my PE teacher was also my football coach, Mike Worthington. And I can say this because Mike Worthington is like a second father to me. Mike Worthington is crazy. He's like, you think you're going to be playing badminton? You think they play badminton at Georgia? There's literally a picture of our gym class, and you got a bunch of kids playing pickup basketball in the middle of the gym, having the time of their lives, and you can see me over in the corner of the gym doing hot knees on the Vertex machine. Mike got me jumping around cones doing speed work while my buddies are playing freeze tag or whatever. Yeah, Chubb is just a beast. Look at those arms. And there's the slice on his knee. I got one of those too. I was so mad, man. But in my head, as I was suffering, I was just thinking, I am not going to Georgia to be no damn fullback. That was the hardest A+ I ever got in my life. But thank God for Mike Worthington and for my grandmother and for the way that I was brought up, because when you're young like that, you have no idea everything that life is going to throw at you. Obviously, life has thrown 2 major injuries at me now, says Nick Chubb. Were there dark days? Oh, yes. Listen, I'm 28 years old. What's that in running back years these days? 57? I know the business. I saw the rumors. Maybe they'll just cut Chubb. Man, they should cut Chubb. Matter of fact, they'd be stupid not to cut him. It's a cold world. I get it. The only thing that I could control was the work. Let me switch to that. There we go. Only thing I could control was the work. As soon as I got out of my brace and got back on my feet, I was back in the gym. I'm not a guy who likes fancy trainers and gyms that look like the club or whatever. I always go back to where it all started, the Cedartown High weight room. Membership is cheap. They got a water fountain. For me, just being in there and smelling that old smell, it hits different. I draw power from it for some reason. It takes me back to being a 14-year-old kid, young, poor, hungry. Stepping under that squat bar for the first time, just thinking, I got to get stronger. I got to make a name for myself. I got to get my family to a better place. I never want to lose that edge. And when you get to the NFL and you get some money in your pocket, it's so easy to lose it. So that's why I always go back. That's why I went back there this offseason once I finished my rehab. Me and Mike were just putting in the work, putting them rocks in the bucket. 8 months after I blew out my knee. And no, by the way, Nick Chubb, you did not blow out your knee. Minkah Fitzpatrick made a dirty ass head down missile attack on your knee in one of the dirtiest plays I've ever seen. Minkah Fitzpatrick and the Steelers, shame on them. And shame on the NFL for not suspending Minkah Fitzpatrick for as long as it has taken you to return. Minkah Fitzpatrick should have missed as much time as it's taken you to get here today. That's my wish for the NFL. What Minkah Fitzpatrick did, just to a casual observer, seems to be obviously an attempt to injure you. So you didn't blow out your knee. Minkah Fitzpatrick blew out your knee. Sorry. But that's important. That's missing here. Anyway, 8 months after Minkah Fitzpatrick blew out your knee on one of the dirtiest hits you've ever seen in football history. Yeah, I said it. Nick Chubb was putting up 540 pounds on the squat rack 8 months after. It's not real work unless you see that bar bending. And that bar does bend. That's nuts. I don't say that to brag at all. I say it because I know how much doubt I had that I'd ever be the same. Back at Georgia, and then again last year. What's amazing to me is how much support I had from the city of Cleveland. I know I'm not a guy who says a lot, but I do read the comments. I saw how much love you guys showed for me. In the NFL these days, that's rare. It seemed like at times Browns fans were the only ones who weren't seeing it as just a business. You believed. So I believed. Back to that, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, and I believe in myself. I remember my agent calling me at the start of the offseason when the rumors were swirling, and he told me that there was nothing to worry about. He had talked to the front office, and they definitely wanted me back. But that wasn't just about numbers on a computer or something. Their reason was a lot deeper. Before I tell you what they said, you got to understand something about me and Cleveland. When I got drafted here, I didn't know a single thing about it. Never been. Barely knew where it was. I'm a Georgia boy. All I knew was that they were really, really bad at the time, like historic. On draft night, when I slipped into the second round, it was so crazy because it wasn't just that I slipped. It was that my dog, my roommate Sony, ended up getting, his buddy. It's that my dog, my roommate Sony, ended up getting drafted by the Patriots in the first round. And of course, I was super happy for him. But then my other dog, our roommate Isaiah Wynn, he gets picked by New England too. So I'm sitting there with my family at a Buffalo Wild Wings. And everybody's trying to put on their game face and not act all disappointed. And I'm in the group text with my guys like, man, you're going to Foxborough with Tom and Bill? I had to go to bed that night not knowing who was going to call my name. Next morning, I got to the high school for a workout, and Mike Worthington is on his phone. And we already established how Mike Worthington is a little crazy. So he comes up to me and shows me his phone. He's got ESPN up. It's the draft order. He's pointing at number 35. All he says is, man, when they call you tonight, don't pick up the damn phone. He's pointing right at the Browns logo. Now remember, the Browns had just gone 0-16. 0-16. I wasn't hating on the Browns, but all I'm saying is you weren't exactly picking them in Madden. It was dark days. It was the dark days. Don't pick up the damn phone. So, of course, that night, we're all back at Buffalo Wild Wings. And a couple of minutes into round two, I get a phone call, 216. I see that Cleveland, Ohio pop up on my caller ID. I go numb. Honestly, can't even remember what the coaches said to me because my family was all jumping up and down and screaming, and I could barely hear anything. I look up at the TVs and I see the legend, the GOAT, greatest of all time, Jim Brown, coming up to the podium to announce the pick for the Browns. Still can't hear anything. Everybody going nuts. Then I see my name flash up on the screen, RB Nick Chubb, Georgia, 216, Cleveland, Ohio. That was the best phone call I ever got. I turned to my mom like, as soon as I get a couple of those NFL checks, I'm retiring you, right? The Browns changed my life that night, but more importantly, they changed my family's life. Now, I think you understand what I mean when I tell you I was meant for this city. I've tried to work my ass off every day to get us where we need to go. And even though we've gotten close, I feel like I have serious unfinished business. That's why it hurt me so bad to go down last season. We were just starting to cook. I can't stop until I prove to everybody that I'm the undisputed best running back in this league. And I definitely can't stop until we get the Browns back to the top of the AFC. It's been too damn long. Thank God that I healed. Thank God that I continue to play this great game. Thank God that I get the chance to run it back. You want to hear what the Browns told my agent, by the way? When my agent called me to tell me the news, he said, I've never actually had a front office tell me anything like this. But they said that part of the reason they never entertained cutting you is because of how much you mean to the city. That really meant the world to me. Look, I know the deal. I had no guaranteed money left. The Browns had all the leverage. They could have left me high and dry, like so many guys in this league, but they had my back. You all had my back. That's enough talking for me. There's only one thing left to do now. I just got to pay you back. These rocks ain't going to move themselves. Let's work. Nicholas Jamal Chubb, everybody. So if you want a reason to watch the Browns game this week, watch it for this guy right here. Watch it for who I've considered to be the best running back for several years now. I'm fine if you say Christian McCaffrey's been great when healthy. You can rattle off any other great running backs and put him top 3. Nobody's better than him. They're all just, they play slightly different games. This guy has been incredible. And he's back this week, and I think that's going to be trouble for the Bengals. I am picking a Bengals win. I'm going to wrap up this episode of the Unhappy Hour. I'm going to bounce right over to the Agree to Disagree show. We're going to go through the Twitter feed at American_media_. Make sure you're following the Unhappy Hour on X at the Unhappy Hour _ at the Unhappy Hour _ and join the private Facebook group, the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group. Cleveland Indians go live today, 5:08 or something like that. The Tribe plays the AFC, the American League Championship Series. Yeah, 5:08. I was right. In Cleveland. Cleveland trail the Yankees 2-0. But look, it's not panic mode until a road team gets a win. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. This thing could be tied 2-2. Actually, it's 2-3-2, right? So like the Tribe could be up. So let's just take care of business at home tonight. Play the best that you can. Let it rip. Give it all you got, Cleveland. Like, this is a good team worthy of support. So go check them out. At 5 o'clock, if you're more interested in football, I'll be doing a show with Mike Barra. You know him. He's an author, a lecturer. You've seen him on Ancient Aliens, but he's also a huge Seattle Seahawks fan. I sometimes join his show, Toxically Masculine Tuesday, on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. With Blake Wally. And we do a show called Strictly Football, where we break down what happened last week. Then we make our predictions for the following week. So check that out. That'll be today at 5, but we're going to pause this show. We're going to stop it. We're going to relaunch as the Agree to Disagree show. So just hit refresh and come right back, and we'll see you in a moment. All right. Take care, everyone. Go Browns. I predict a victory over the Bengals. I really do. And I think the Browns can turn their season around. I think we're going to be fighting tooth and nail for a wild card spot. I got a hunch, and maybe Nick Chubb just pumped me up for what I needed. I think the entire team is going to look different, feel different. Amari's gone. Nick is back. That energy. Come on. A big difference, a big vibrational difference in that locker room and in that stadium this week. Go Browns. Go Tribe. Let's get the wins. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace. All right. Thank you, everybody in Facebook. Talk to you later.